We're sisters, best friends, and authors on a mission to help you stoke your creative fire and live the life of your dreams. We believe that purpose fuels passion and that creativity is your secret weapon for mass construction. There's never been a better time to bless the world with your dream realized. You're listening to The Kate and Abbie Show. What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Kate and Abbie Show. Today this is episode 7, and that's pretty crazy to think about. We've done 7 episodes of this show so far, and today we have a very special, timely, hopefully inspiring and helpful topic to dig into.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how to nourish yourself in times of stress and some things that help us personally. Actually, that's all we're talking about here is things we do to help nourish ourselves. This is not about hand washing or any other serious thing that you should be doing right now. For more info on that, look everywhere else. Here, we fully endorse hand washing, by the way. I can't even tell you how many times I've been washing my hands.
I know, same. We already were really great about washing hands before all this. So it's like the average person who isn't used to doing it a lot is doing it a lot, but we're doing it like a lot on top of the lot that we already did. So it's like our skin is falling off.
It's just a good habit to stay in general, honestly. No matter what's going on, wash your hands a lot. Yeah. Also,
how can it hurt?
Yeah. Wipe down your phone. When you think about how many places your phone goes.
And then you put it like against your face.
You put it against your face. And you just take a moment to think about like 3 kind of icky places your phone has been, and you're like, I wouldn't rub my face on any of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Just wipe your phone down from time to time. I try to once a day wipe my phone, especially if I go out. Lately, I have not been. I've been home, and I'm still wiping my phone at least a couple times a week. Yeah. Good practices to get into, good things to maintain. But today we're talking about, like Abby just said, some tasty bonus things that would fall into the category of self-care or mindful living, whatever type of name you want to give that. Things that fall into those categories that we do for ourselves and that we think you guys might enjoy.
Yeah. Excited.
Yeah, me too.
We have some good stuff to share. So make sure you're taking notes and grab a notebook handy. Yeah. Take some notes. Do you want to start off, or should we jump right into it?
Well, first, I just wanted to add thank you so much to everyone who has joined the Start Your Story Challenge. Me and Abby were blown away by the support for that idea, because it was a very spur of the moment thing. We're like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's start it. And you guys just showed incredible support. We're so happy, so encouraged. It's awesome to see so many of you encouraging each other during this very stressful, difficult time.
Honestly, it's like probably the only, I can't remember the last time we did something that we hadn't thought about it for weeks before actually launching it. This was within, I think, hours before filming the podcast. We were like, let's do something different. Let's do a writing challenge. And it's actually kind of goes well with the theme of the writing challenge, which is to start your story and kind of just do it. And don't overthink it, and don't hesitate. Don't worry about not being qualified or not writing it perfectly. Just write it. Write it because you want to and you love it. So, that's the challenge. And it's still open for people to join, right?
Yeah,
so if they're coming late to the party,
if you're coming late,
you can still join the challenge.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, what was that? Just go back 1 episode, listen through, and then go to facebook.com/groups/startyourstorychallenge, request to join. We'll accept you, and you'll be in a community of hundreds of writers who have all just been so wonderful and encouraging and motivating each other to continue to write and stay creative, even in the midst of dark, stressful, turbulent times, and to use your creativity as a tool to help bring positivity and encouragement to other people during this time. And it's just been totally rad. Really a bright spot. So thank you guys. Namaste to you. We tip our hats to you. We just are so encouraged by you. So thank you so much for being part of that movement. And please feel free to join if you have not already. We'd love to have you. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Do you want to kick it off?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we have quite a few things that I know we share interest in. So a lot of these things we both do. But particularly for me, when we're thinking about self-care and stressful times and staying calm and peaceful and just nourishing yourself, nourishing your soul and your body and your mind, the thing that immediately comes to my mind is music. One of the first immediate things is music, because I'm a pretty musical person. I mean, I'm a musician myself and a songwriter. And so I feel like this really deep connection to music to begin with. But music, I feel like, absorbs a lot of our time. Like, I feel like so many people listen to music like constantly, whether it's on the radio or whatever. But it's very important, I think, to really curate the kind of music that you bring into your life. So one of my favorite, most relaxing, nourishing, and really rejuvenating and inspiring practices is to listen to beautiful soundtracks. And if you know anything about me, you know that I love listening to soundtracks for films. And not only does it inspire me for writing and plotting stories and all of that amazing stuff, but it also just has this incredible ability to transport me away from whatever is worrying me at the time and into like this really almost magical place of just being lost in the music. And I say instrumentals and soundtracks because it's not distracting with words and messages and opinions like lyrical music can be. Of course, I love lyrical music as well. There's a lot of lyrical music that I really love, but there is something really special and beautiful and pure about instrumentals and, like we were saying, acoustic music we were talking about earlier. And particularly like beautiful soundtracks is the thing that keeps coming to my mind. Like I was listening to, I know that me and Katie have both been checking out some new soundtracks lately. One of my new favorites is Hidden Life by James Newton Howard.
That's absolutely phenomenal.
Incredible. Just like if you listen to nothing else on that album, like listen to the title track that's called A Hidden Life. And like it blew my mind when I first listened to it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how can music be this emotional with no words, nothing telling you how to feel? It's just like, it's pure raw beauty. Absolutely love it.
Great example of storytelling through music too, because you can feel all the emotions of the characters. And I felt almost like I had seen the film just from watching the title track, which I still have not seen the film, but it communicates so much of the emotion that is being communicated and conveyed in the film based on what the story is about. And it's like, I feel like I've seen the movie because of how deeply emotional the music is. It's absolutely phenomenal.
It is so beautiful. But there are so many soundtracks that one just immediately came to mind. Yesterday you were playing Far From the Madding Crowd, right? By Craig Armstrong.
Yes.
And that one is beautiful too.
Yeah. Fabulous music.
The other day I was re-listening to The Greatest Game Ever Played, which is by Brian Tyler. And that soundtrack is just like, oh, I've forgotten how much I loved it. It's so good. It's so beautiful.
Brian Tyler, what? He did something that...
Yeah,
that's so familiar. Like, I'm thinking of another soundtrack he did.
He did a lot of different ones. He did the Now You See Me movies, which those soundtracks are great. Movies, not so much. I didn't watch the second one, but the first one. He also did, I think, one of the Assassin's Creed soundtracks.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Probably heard some of that one.
Yes, I've heard that score.
But there's so many composers that I love. Hans Zimmer is another one, of course. The King.
Yeah.
Thomas Newman, Rob Simonson, just so many beautiful soundtracks and compositions that really transport you to another place, I find. And I know that you have a similar experience with really just unwinding, but beyond, it's really beyond unwinding. It's like, I don't know, it transcends
it does.
Relaxation almost.
It does. It's like I love the word you used about transporting, because that's really what it does, is it transports you into like a different frame of mind than listening to lyrical music.
Yeah.
I would definitely consider myself, and I think you can relate to this too, as being more of an old soul.
Yeah.
In that I am not very into modern music. I like more older music. The 60s to me is when the best music came out, other than the classical composers. So I don't connect very much with typical music. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with it. That's just my own style. Everyone has their own style. And to me, I find that composers of classical music really resonate with me because of that, because it just puts me in this headspace that a lot of other music does not.
Yeah.
Because it kind of transcends, it's timeless, first of all. And like you see all the different styles of music, like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They all have different sounds, but yet when you turn to classical music, it has this very timeless feeling to it. And I think there's this kind of beauty to that, really. And I would definitely agree that, it transcends, and I find it extremely relaxing. Really, all acoustic music of any kind, be it sounds from nature, which I enjoy listening to. I will, whenever I'm slightly stressed at all, I will turn on bird songs or sounds of the rainforest, or not so much like ocean waves and stuff, even though I do love those sometimes. I tend for more like bird song, thunderstorm sounds like that. But like also, a lot of people like the sound of like rushing water and waves and stuff like that. It can be very relaxing.
Yeah.
So sounds of nature to me fall into a very, very, very natural sense of the word acoustic, really.
Mm. Yeah, it was just occurring to me as we were talking about this that I think the thing about music is it changes the way you feel. Mm. And it can completely change like the mood you're in and just the whole energy around you in your day. And I think that's why it's so powerful to choose carefully what you listen to, especially for long periods of time, because it does really it has an impact, and
absolutely.
It really changes how you feel emotionally. And I think that's why when you're looking towards self-care, it's a little bit of an unconventional thing to start with, is like listening to music. But I think it's so cool because it can change the way that you feel about your entire day, about everything.
All right. I mean, like, you can very simply do a test of like, listening to Adele songs about heartbreak, and you start to feel like heartbroken and like nobody loves you.
Exactly.
Whereas when you listen to something that's really upbeat and uplifting, and you're like, oh yeah, and it changes your mood. So it's a tool we can use, and we shouldn't use it carelessly.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, Adele has a gorgeous voice. That's certainly not saying don't listen to Adele, but just notice how the tones and also the subject matter of music, if it's lyrical, can change your mood. And I mean, there is such a thing as sound therapy and sound healing, and that's very widely used. It's part of many practices internationally, using sound healing as a way to calm and relax, and a therapeutic thing. So it is kind of universally acknowledged that different tones will cause calming, and I think that's why like bird song, dolphin vocalizations, things like that, because of the certain pitch and tone they're at, can actually help your body to like respond in a certain way. So that's something to keep in mind with like all noise factors.
Yeah, for sure. And that's glad you brought that up, because that was another note that I wrote, was like the different frequencies that music is at your brain will respond to it with different brainwaves. So I don't know a whole lot about this, but I listen to, every night when I'm sleeping, I listen to theta brainwaves music. So I have like a playlist that I've made of different, it actually goes from like alpha
I was gonna say, your
waves.
her playlist is the most advanced sleeping playlist
It's so
I've
advanced.
ever seen.
It's not just like, one track on, for 7 hours in a row. It's not just like, repeat this one song forever. Although sometimes I do that, it depends. But it is an advanced sleep playlist, whereas it like starts with alpha brainwaves, which is your awake brainwaves, I believe. And then it goes into delta. The next song is like delta, and then that fades into theta brainwaves. And then the theta brainwaves, I have that track. It's like an hour long, and it's really nice. And it lasts like, I put it on there like 7 times, I think, so that it will last 7 hours. And then I have a few other songs that make it go up to almost 8 hours. And then at like the very end of it, I put in a few tracks that are bird songs that I really like. So it's like designed to help me get into sleep. And then while I'm sleeping, I'm listening to the theta brainwaves. And then when I wake up around 8 hours, because I naturally wake up after 8 hours, I'll hear the bird songs. And so it's like really great. I recommend building a playlist like that if you have trouble sleeping, or if you just like to hear something when you go to sleep. Or it can also be nice when you like wake up in the middle of the night if your sleep is disturbed. It's like really peaceful to hear that, and you're kind of reminded like, oh, I'm sleeping. I'm safe. It's okay. Especially if you're like disturbed by weird dreams or whatever. But waking up to bird songs, like even if they're not real outside your window, they were real once. It's not like they're fake birds.
Yeah, they're not computer generated birds.
Yeah, exactly.
They're real birds. And yeah, I find it way cool that we get to like, just think about the fact that like 50 years ago or sooner than that, you couldn't hear bird recordings from birds from any part of the world you want to hear birds from. How cool is that? Like, I mean,
you could even listen to birds that were singing 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Or at least 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Probably not 50 years ago, but
it's fascinaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's when they started with wildlife recordings. It's like, I mean, like we, like Roger Payne recording the blue whale.
Yeah.
That was, I can't remember when that was. That was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
I believe. I could be wrong on that. I'm getting a little bro science here because I can't remember the exact dates. Fascinating stuff, though, and you can really take advantage of the fact that you have all this stuff at your fingertips and use it to help yourself calm down, help yourself relax. There's tons of research out there about how vocalizations from like dolphins and whales and birds, and also things like rushing water and wind and stuff like that. It's all music, and it's all been treasured for hundreds, if not thousands, of years by so many cultures. That's one of the things I've loved in so many Native American nations is that they really appreciate and celebrate the sounds of nature and speak of them as music and talk about how they are nourishing for the soul. And that's always really strongly resonated with me, and I think we can use that. And we have science to also back up the fact that, yes, this is something that can be very helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So acoustic music of any kind, really, I think can really be helpful. And I listen to Native American music almost daily. It's one of my favorite types of music to listen to. Also some traditional Japanese music. I absolutely love traditional Indian music. It's amazing when you start digging into different cultural music, how relaxing so much of it is. It can aid in meditation. It can be just a wonderful tool, a wonderful medium to explore, to help you relax and unwind and just chill.
Yeah,
I listen to relaxing. It every day for sure.
Yeah, it is awesome. And speaking of nature, one of the other things that I wrote down was for self-care, nourishment, is going for a walk in nature, even if it's not anything crazy or strenuous hike or anything like that. It doesn't have to be anything exciting even. It could just be walking down your street, being outside, and I'm not talking about hanging out with people. Don't go do that. Just be by yourself. But if you can get outside and breathe some fresh air and feel the sun on your face, feel the wind in your hair, just enjoy nature. And one of the things that I find helps me to enjoy it more is to not have like a plan in mind when you do go for a walk. Like a lot of times I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to go down this street and then come back around this way. But even that can be like, now I have like this end in mind and I'm like not really relaxing. I'm just thinking about where I'm going. Whereas walking without a route in mind can be so freeing and just this sort of small dose of spontaneity if you have a hard time with spontaneity like I do. You don't need a plan. Just get outside, walk, and breathe and listen to nature. And just explore what it means, what it feels like to be by yourself, not in an isolated way, but in a way of appreciating everything that's around you in the world that's around you in nature without having to, you don't have to feel lonely. You're really not alone. There are so many things around you that are supporting you right now and helping.
Yeah, I think nature offers so much healing to the mind, the body, the spirit. And like, I agree with you. When I feel like most whole, most myself, I am always out in nature, whether it's hiking or like you said, it doesn't have to be a hike. It can just be simply going for a walk, getting out and breathing fresh air and feeling the sunlight on your face, hearing the wind, experiencing nature, experiencing being outside. So many of us spend a lot of time indoors, whether it's because of work or just a lot of the things we do in Western culture anyway, I'm just speaking from experience of what I've seen where I live, is that there's a lot of indoor-oriented stuff. And we can, TV watching and electronics, computer work, desk work, it all takes place inside. So if you can break that and get outside, then that's really good because, vitamin D, fresh air, all sorts of benefits, not to mention the calm and peace it can bring to go to a beautiful place. And even if you live somewhere where you don't necessarily deem it being like beautiful and relaxing, just getting outside and breathing some fresh air, going for a walk, loads of benefits. And yeah for sure would recommend that. Kind of bumps me into one I had written down, which was things like yoga, qigong, karate, tai chi. These are all wonderful things that can be practiced outside. And it's great for exercise, especially right now when maybe if you had a gym subscription or you're used to going somewhere to work out, that's not really something that's happening right now. So these are things you can do from the comfort of your own home. And you can also do them outside. So if you're like, I don't really know what to do outside, or maybe you don't have someone to go for a walk with, or you're just kind of like, I don't really have anywhere to go walking, go outside and, practice yoga, practice tai chi. There's wonderful videos on YouTube of so many teachers that have contributed for free videos that are like guided for practicing Tai Chi and yoga and Qigong. It's one that I've been doing lately. I've been really enjoying. Also karate, Kata, which if you're not familiar with what that is in martial arts, in karate specifically, there are katas, which are basically practicing various karate stances and movements in this coordinated pattern that is a bit like a dance, but they're very ancient. They've been practiced for a long time, but they're very relaxing to do. And those are also available on YouTube from many different people. So it's a bit like a more fast-paced version of something like a Tai Chi flow or a yoga flow. You're practicing movements of the body that are very healthy, very strengthening, very good for flexibility, and someone's just guiding you through it. They're quite simple to do, and you don't need a lot of space. And exercise, which you've read a book about, how it's so wonderful for combating feelings of anxiety and depression. There's a lot of research to back that up, and you read a book about that.
Yeah, it was a very, very fascinating book. I feel like I mentioned it before on the show. It's called Spark, The Revolutionary Science of Exercise in the Brain, I believe. And it is fascinating how it explores the direct connection between movement in your body and what's going on in your brain. And it's really fascinating, just all the different areas that it explores, from anxiety and depression to addiction and even longevity and just so many things, like everything you can possibly think of, and not just your physical health, but also your mental health. And that's what really got me more excited about exercise, because I always was like, yeah, I exercise to be strong and to be flexible and maintain my physical health, but it's also extremely helpful for your mental health. And I find it a marked difference, honestly, in my stress levels and my happiness, my energy, and my ability to sleep well at night when I exercise versus when I don't. So even just going for a walk.
Yeah.
Any kind of aerobic exercise that gets your heart rate up and gets you moving and preferably sweating a bit, even though that sounds gross to some people. It's good for you.
It is. Yeah. Getting moving too, and
it makes you smarter. That's another thing that they talk about.
A lot of brain stimulation.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Yeah. There's so many records. I mean, even when you go back a ways of people who would, I remember hearing, it was from a book, but it was about this guy who was like a military general or something. And before he would start his day of like strategy planning and all this stuff, he would like go for a 20-minute run, because he wrote in his diary that he found a marked difference in better clarity of thinking after he went for a run versus when he didn't exercise at all. So that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And you have so much science. I mean, back then they probably didn't even realize what that was, but it helps with blood flow. It helps with brain functionality, and just movement of energy is fantastic, which is one of the things I really love too about, I'm a big fan of Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, that is, and many of the practices that come with that, which Qigong is technically related to that. It's very similar to Tai Chi. If you're not familiar with what Qigong is, it's slow movements of the body that are very good for moving and stimulating energy. And if you're someone who perhaps it's like not available to you to do rigorous aerobic exercise, just doing things even from a seated position that help to stimulate and move and circulate energy throughout the body is so healthy for the organs, for blood flow, for brain functionality. So even if you if it's not available to you to do rigorous exercise, check out things like Tai Chi, Qigong, things that you can even do seated, because that also helps so much with all of those internal things that are so healthy for you. So I think during this time when a lot of so much is going on that's very stressful for so many people, depressing, there's lots of heavy emotions because of this time that we're moving through here. Try to find some things that you can do to kind of let go of that energy and to receive new energy into your body to kind of renew each day. I think exercise can be a big contributor to that. So try to get moving every day for sure, I think, in whatever way you're able to. I think is really, really good for you. Another thing that I have written down, and this is kind of like a random one, is making tea, which I find to be such a calming practice. And I'm not talking about just putting a tea bag in a cup, even though that's 100% good. And I do that on the regular as well. But making fresh ingredient tea can become such a mindful ritual, not only thinking out what ingredients will be healthy for your body or whatever you're trying to, if you're trying to aid with a certain function of the body or condition of the body, then it's awesome to be able to mindfully choose those ingredients and use them all. But also just the practice of, it's kind of like a moving meditation of being able to just mindfully be fully absorbed in picking out like the ginger and washing the ginger and chopping the ginger. I have an herb pot that I pick my own fresh herbs from. And so I'll like go about picking the herbs that I want to use and making the tea. And it's just a really mindful little ritual. And I know it sounds kind of funny, like something, oh, nourish yourself by making fresh ingredient tea. But, you know, hey, it can be anything. And it could also be like cooking nutritious meals. Small things that like that normally get pushed to the side when we get busy. So if you find yourself having a little more time on your hands, then why not incorporate some of those practices that can become so... I love analog nourishing things like that, like making tea, growing your own food if you are able to, making your own food from scratch, making bread, things like that. I really have always gravitated to because it has this really nice feeling of grounding to it. And it also involves creativity because you're not just eating a meal that was, prepared and it's in a box and you just heat it up. You get to create your own meal. Creativity can, it really comes in to ask any chef and they will tell you that creativity is greatly involved in making food.
Yeah, totally.
Actually,
it's an art.
It is. And like what pops into my head, even though this is an older film now, like it came out a few years ago, is the 100-Foot Journey. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
The 100-Foot Journey. Watch that film if you haven't because I love it so much. And they just do such a wonderful job. The cinematography is so tasty, no pun intended. And it just really shows how making food can be such a creative act. So find things like that, whether it's making tea or making food or something to nourish your cellular body, then, do that. And if you're curious about the tea making, I make teas from fresh ingredients because it's so healthy for your body. One of my favorites is like using ginger and turmeric and herbs. And you can find on my YouTube channel, I'll put a link to a video I did about how to make 3 fresh ingredient teas that are like just really good for helping your immune system. And that's good during times when there's illness going around, is to be able to boost your immune system however you can. So I always try to supplement that.
Yeah. Taking vitamins, drinking good teas.
Yes.
Eating healthy foods, drinking a lot of water. All of those things are important self-care things to remember.
Right, and it may sound like to some people they might be like, well, that's kind of a no-brainer, but to a lot of people who like have busy lives and are, working a lot, those things get so easily nudged off the table.
Yeah, and you just forget to do them. Mm-hmm. Like I forgot to take B12 again this morning. Yay. I know, I keep trying to remember to take B12, but that's another thing is like even researching vitamins that you should be taking. And I don't just mean like typing in on Google, what vitamins should I be taking? Because it's a very subjective question, but like actually doing some self-analysis of things that you think you may be lacking, learning about nutrition. Those things are so helpful for your body and your mind and your energy and your health and your productivity too. In the long run, they're worth learning about. And if you get really deep into it, you probably want to consult with a nutritionist. I don't know.
Nutritionist, I think, yeah.
Nutritionist, yeah. And learning more about what you can need. This is like a sidecar, but taking vitamins like vitamin C and getting more healthy foods and herbs, like you were saying, and things like turmeric and stuff like that in your diet is just so good. So good.
Yeah, I mean,
helpful for everybody.
Yes. We've always, growing up, our family was incredibly health conscious. And so we've grown up to both be like really health conscious individuals. So I think it's just kind of ingrained in us to always be digging deeper into health. And hey, it's a great thing to dig deeper into because everything you do in life is connected. It's not separate. Your work life and your everything else you do isn't segmented, is what I always like to say, is it's all one thing. So how you're feeding yourself and how you're treating yourself is going to reflect into your creativity. So if you're a creative writer or a composer or an artist of any kind, your creativity will be affected by how you treat yourself and by how you are nourishing your body, whether it be with food, self-care, things like that. So dig into that stuff. You owe it to yourself, and there's definitely no time to be wasted. Now is a great time to start digging into how to take care of yourself better.
Yeah, absolutely. This was just like a little starter pack of goodies that you can try out while you're stuck home and see which ones resonate the most with you and which ones boost your mood, and maybe like invent some new ones that really you find improve your mood and your energy. And share those things with us, by the way. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment below and tell us some of the things that you do for self-care.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, you can find the video on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KAMens. Click on that video and leave us a comment because we'd love to know what you think, or shoot us a message. Going forward, we are going to be launching a website for the Kate and Abbie Show. We will have an easily accessible email that will be a lot easier to reach us at. So look for that in future episodes. We also have a couple of other interesting things, exciting things coming in the coming weeks.
Exciting announcement coming soon.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. But for now, go check out the video, comment, be part of the community. Make sure you join the Start Your Story Challenge if you're writing or if you feel like starting something, for sure. Did you have anything else written down for you nourishing? Because I had one more that I had actually written.
Yeah, go for it.
Embracing quiet time. That's one that I was thinking about recently with how so many people are home, we're home, and there's just like, we talked about this last week, is how there's so much less like information input has been turned way down. And a lot of times I think we can shy away from having quiet time just to ourselves, and we want to kind of instinctively fill that with some kind of noise, be it TV or music or just entertainment and social media and computers, devices, people. Like there's a lot, and we can kind of tend to not want to have quiet time and want to fill every quiet gap in our day with something. Not everyone, for sure. I just mean like sometimes we do tend to do that as people, and
the internet makes it like so readily available that it's like it's almost like it shoves itself into your life, and you're like, you have to consciously like shove it out almost with the internet and notifications and like, oh, this YouTuber just posted and all this stuff. It's like you have to be like actively like, I don't need that right now.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that it can kind of take over if you let it.
Yeah.
So I think embracing the quiet time and discover yourself in that quiet time that you've been given. It's good to have quiet time. It's good to have time to yourself. It can become a very seeking time. Do some, soul seeking and just discovering and learning. So embrace the quiet time. Don't necessarily shy away from it. And you don't have to just, sit in silence. Car radio starts going through my head. Comment if you got that reference. But like you can do things like meditate. You can do things like, Tai Chi or yoga, or, embrace the quiet time and see what you can do with it. Yeah. And it can actually become a really healthy, beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of inspiration is born out of quiet time. And the less distractions, the more you're connected to your inner inspiration and your creativity and your soul.
Yeah, exactly. In the absence of noise, who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a very beautiful answer to that question, by the way, to be discovered as you calm down and allow yourself to unfold in the quiet and realize that, hey, the silence isn't bad. The silence isn't threatening, and you can actually find yourself there.
For sure. Well, I think that was the end of my list as well.
Yeah, that tops it off for me as well. So now it's you guys' turn. Let us know what sort of nourishing things you've been doing for yourself during this time. And let us know how you're doing. Please check in with us. We think about you guys often. We pray for you, send you happy vibes your way. We send healthy vibes your way and positive energy, positive vibrations. we are so thrilled to have you here in the community, and we are so glad that you're here listening today. So stay tuned for next week's episode. We'll have a cool announcement, and we're really looking forward to chatting more with you guys about that. For now, tell us about your nourishing tips by commenting below if you're watching the video, or sending us a message if you're listening, or go and find the video. If you would like to support the podcast, the best way to do that is to grab a copy of one of our books. By all means, we're both writers, published authors, and I have a series called The Blood Race. I actually just released the free prequel to...
It's awesome, by the way. You guys will love it. It's short and sweet. Very good. Very good way to start the Blood Race series if you're new to it.
Thank you.
And my book is 100 Days of Sunlight, and you can find that everywhere books are sold online. And it's a cheerful little burst of sunshine that might make you smile.
It's great for this time because I think we all could use something to lift us up mentally and emotionally. So go get that if you haven't. And if you want to grab the free prequel ebook.
And if you're I don't really want anything sunshiny, I just want something like moody and epic and mysterious and thrilling, then go read The Blood Race. You won't be disappointed.
Or read both, it'll be like a little sampler box of chocolates.
Yeah, exactly.
That you don't know what they are till you bite into them.
Mine would be like those strawberry cream,
Yeah.
And yours would be like
probably just dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. And you think there's going to be something in it. It's just even darker chocolate.
Yes, exactly.
But fine chocolate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we use chocolate as a metaphor for a lot of things.
We do. I feel like we've talked about box of chocolates on this show quite a bit.
We like chocolate.
We do. So if you want to get Anomaly, the ebook is entirely free, and I will leave a link down in the description for you guys if you want to go grab a copy. But and we also have Patreons that you can support us at if you would like to. Mine is patreon.com/KAMNs.
And mine is patreon.com/AbbieEmmons.
And otherwise, we thank you guys so much for watching, for your supportive comments, your encouraging words. They mean so much to us. We hope you got something out of today's episode, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, stay stoked.
And rock on.